Hi everyone, I'm Francois. If you stumbled on this video, most probably it's because you like watches. And I do too. So I want to share this love of watches with you. And today we're going to share this Islander model ISL-54. So let's get right into it because it's time to watch. So this Islander, what type of watch is this exactly? So I'll get into the specs right away and you can figure out if it is a good watch for you. Because I know that the specs are spot on with what I like to have in a watch. So diameter is 40 millimeters. The lug to lug is 47.5 millimeters. The thickness is 13, right on the nose. And the water resistance for this is 100 meters. So those measurements are taken directly on the Island Watch website where I got this watch, because this is my watch, by the way. This is not a sponsored video. This is a watch that I own and I just really like it. So I wanted to share with you. So the specs are exactly the same when I measured them with my my trusty calipers right here. And so that doesn't happen often. Oftentimes you just get a kind of offset of a few millimeters or even a few fractions of millimeters, but you get the point. This is spot on these measurements. The lug width here is 20 millimeters. So you have the options of adding a lot of different straps. And by the way, this doesn't come in this strap right here. This is a Laco strap, kind of a pilot-like watch. So it's a pilot-like strap. And the strap that came with it is essentially a kind of a plain Jane type of strap. And I think it's kind of by design, because Mark at Island Watch there says that this is a strap monster anyways, right? So why invest in a strap if you're going to change it anyways? And that was my view as well. I was going to change this anyways. So you see here that the initial strap is branded Islander. It also has a stainless steel buckle with a signed logo right there. But, you know, quite frankly, it's really plain Jane. It's really kind of ordinary, let's say. That's why I went for the Laco pilot style strap. I got another strap to go with this here. Like Mark said at Island Watch, this watch is a strap monster. So on top of this Laco strap, I got this Hirsch strap, which pops out the orange out of that second hand, as you can see. However, Mark came out with another design of this same type of watch, and I think this one's going to be kept for that one, but that's going to be for another review later on. The casing, as you can see, is stainless steel, but there's some shininess to it with this polish edge. And that's that polish edge on the bezel and on the casing itself. You see that the bezel is kind of a brushed, bead blasted maybe. And so it's not as shiny, but you have kind of a contrast between the two that's really nice, that plays well, right? And all this with a domed sapphire glass right here. And you can see the distortion here. That's really nice. It's kind of a call to the older watches where you had domed sapphire or domed acrylic crystals that had a lot of distortion. So it's just kind of a wink, let's say, to that era. Speaking of sapphire crystals, on the case back here, it's a display case back. let's call it an exhibition case back, where you can see the movement. The movement inside is a Seiko NH-35. And it's not, the best type of finishing on this type of movement, but it's a workhorse movement. It's really reliable, and in this type of watch, works well. So you see here, you have the engraving in sapphire. You have the 100-meter water resistance. You have the Islander name and Islander logo. So, and this is a first for Mark, if I remember correctly. His other watches don't have these display case backs, and I know I mentioned it, but for the price, you get sapphire in the back and sapphire in the front. The sapphire has AR coating. As you can see, it's kind of the blue hue there, blue reflection. He doesn't mention how many coating of AR that he has on this sapphire, but it's kind of enough to have anti-reflection. It's maybe could do with a little more AR coating. So you see the sword hands here, the minute, the hours. They are black, basically with lume on the inside. But they pop out because of the lume, but not necessarily because of the black, the matte black dial itself. So they could come out and pop out a little more if you have something like maybe a stainless steel type of handset. It may be a little too heavy for the mechanism, but something maybe that would have it pop out. But as you can see, it reflects well the light. We kind of see it. It's not an issue to see it. You see the numerals at the 12, the 3, the 6, and the 9. Like I said, that second hand pops out really well. So that splash of color is really something that differentiates it out of the others. You see here the crown. The crown is a signed screw-down crown. And if you unscrew it, you'll see that NH-35 movement, if you come out one position, there's a ghost date. So a ghost date essentially is that you don't have a date window, but you have a date position. There's no mechanisms inside, so you don't hear the clicking. So, you can turn it so that, you can maybe drive yourself crazy if you want. I don't mind that. Some may mind that. If you bring it out all at the second position, or third position, I should say, this is where you can change your time. And so essentially you can change it whenever you want. There's no danger zone. A danger zone is essentially the zone between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. where the date changes. And if you change the date while the hands are in that section, that plastic module inside that changes the date, you may break that. So that's what we call the danger zone. So it's just, not fun to break because you need to have it repaired. It's a small part that doesn't cost a lot, but it's buried. So it's not a fun part to replace. But in this case here, because you don't have a date, you're okay. You can just adjust it as you see fit. So you just push it in, screw it back in for your full 100-meter water resistance. This basically, a screwed in crown, is just a peace of mind, because you can have a push-pull type of crown and still have 100 meters of water resistance. But quite frankly, like I said, this is peace of mind. I'd rather have that. For the price, sapphire, display case on the back, have sapphire on the front with a screw down crown, solid build with a great movement, which is a workhorse movement. That Seiko movement is something that you'll see in many of the Islander watches. And, well, I guess for the price, it's hard to beat. So the material of this is stainless steel. Like I said, it's polished, it's brushed, a combination of both. Stainless steel screw here, screw down for, again, your full 100-meter water resistance. It's a total of 88 grams, so it's not that heavy. Once you got it on your wrist, you kind of don't feel it. So I haven't mentioned that the hands and the markers, the hour markers, are all lumed. And you'll see it's great lume. The number of coding of C3 Super Luminova is not indicated on their website, but it's more than enough. Once you charge this, just before you go to bed, it's going to last you all night. So I think Mark really loves lume and makes sure that all his watches are lumed up, let's say. So what I like about this watch, well, like I said off at the top of this review, is that the proportions, the measurements are perfect for me. So is this a watch for you? I have a 7-inch wrist, and I'll do a wrist shot in a few seconds there. And I think that this is right in my sweet spot. So that's why I really like it so much. And I think it's a reliable movement, that Seiko movement inside. And so you have, theoretically, I think it's something like plus 20 or minus 20 seconds to plus 40 second accuracy for this type of movement. And this is per day, right? But on this one here, and most probably Mark has calibrated it, because I'm not losing even 5 seconds per day on this watch. So it's deadly accurate for an automatic movement. So it's a reliable movement. It's great legibility. It's, like I said, a pilot style watch, right? It's an everyday pilot style watch. I wear this every day. So there's nice lume. I like the flexibility of having this 20 millimeter lug width for the straps. The exhibition case back. This is another key point that I really like. Like I said, it's not a great movement. It's not necessarily one of the better decorated movements out there. But isn't it nice to see the mechanics inside? So I think that's a great deal for a great watch at that price. And now some points that I may, mention in regards to improvements. Not that I dislike it, it's maybe just nitpicking. Some will say that the fact that the initial strap is, not that great would be something that is negative, right? But like I said, I would have lined up other straps anyways, right? I like to change straps. It changes the watch, it changes the look, it depends on what you're wearing as well. So I think it's okay, even if it's by design, to have a strap that's just normal. Some also will be bothered by the ghost date, as I explained. The fact that there's no date window, but a date position. I don't mind that. I set it and forget it, right? As long as it's on your wrist, that automatic movement with that balance wheel will automatically wind it. And so I'm all set. Some even will say that the domed sapphire crystal may be something that is, something that you could easily scratch. It doesn't scratch a sapphire, but you can knock it around and have it scratch nonetheless if you give it a good bump. But it's really minor minor dome here. I've seen larger domes than that. So just enough to give that distortion look that is really nice, reminiscent of the older watches. So let me do a quick wrist shot and show you what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist. Remind you, this is a 40mm casing. Speaking of wrist shot, I'm showing you my next review. Maybe you have seen my unboxing already. This is the Apollo watch from Phoebus, and this is my watch. It's a watch I bought directly on their website, and I've been wearing it for a couple of weeks now, and I'll be doing the review shortly, so look for that. So here it is on my 7-inch wrist. You'll see that the lugs are just okay. They're not protruding on each side. They don't curve that much towards the bottom, but it's not that large of a lug-to-lug dimension, so it's not that bad. You know, you could wear it above the bone, below the bone. I wear my watches just at the top here. I like the feel. You get that crown in your wrist sometimes, but quite frankly, I'm okay with that. Speaking of the crown, this is something that may be kind of a negative for some people. They find that the crown protrudes a little too much compared to a dive watch where you may have the crown at the 4 o'clock. And quite frankly, I think that Mark knows this because he came out with a great design. So this is a watch that Mark has designed. Actually, it's Ryan who designed it at Island Watch, and it has a new design for the crown. So it's still signed, as you can see, but it's a little more flat compared to the other one. If I could put it side by side. And there's kind of I would say a space where you could grab it a little more easily than the other one. It doesn't protrude out too much. It's a pancakey type of crown, and it's really easy to manipulate. So Ryan did a great job on this design. This is another watch I'll be reviewing. It's a fantastic watch with a great dial, and it has also the NH35 movement in it. So this one here is an everyday watch. The other one was more like a dive watch. So I really like the look on this one, and I hope you liked it as well. Speaking of like, if you like these types of reviews, press the like button. You can even subscribe. This way you won't miss any of the reviews, one of which is coming up with this Phoebus, the Apollo model, and it has this great dial, and it's going to be coming out soon, this review, and hope you'll like it. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon.